So let's get started. First of all, I want to let everybody know we're going to record this session so that 10 years from now you can all come back and watch yourselves at Student Government Day. We won't watch. First of all, I'm Michael Dutton. I'm the town manager here in Bridgewater, and I want to welcome you to Student Government Day. This is something we do every year. I think it's hopefully you'll get a lot out of it. It's kind of fun. How many people are here because they get to avoid classes this morning? That's okay. That's okay.
We are. Oh, that's on.
What we are going to do today, I'll lay out just a little bit. We're going to go through sort of a little bit of the process of what the town council goes through when it meets. But you'll get a chance to pair off with some of the department heads in town. There are a lot of us here, and we'll introduce ourselves later. But you'll get a chance to go with them, go to where they work, understand what we do on a day-to-day basis, and then we'll all come back and reconvene here, and we'll let you tell us a little bit about what we do and give us ideas on how we can do it better. So I want to start by introducing our town clerk. In Massachusetts cities and towns, the town clerk plays a very important role because the town clerk is the keeper of record. So all of our records and all of the historical documents that we have in town are kept by the town clerk. She also plays a very important ceremonial role. So because of that, I'm going to introduce Marilee Hunt, who's our town clerk, and she's going to lead us through a couple of things that we do, excuse me, every time we meet, including the Pledge of Allegiance and swearing you in. She's going to swear you in as public officials for the day, and give you a little bit of an idea of what it means to be working in town government. So I'll introduce Mrs. Hunt.
I always have to shorten it when I get up here. Okay, I think the first thing we're going to do before we start anything is stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is right over here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I don't know, and it probably isn't the same for you. Do you say the pledge every day in school? So maybe it isn't the same for you. I don't get to say it very, very often at town council meetings and occasionally other places, but I still get goosebumps when I say it because it means a lot to me. Liberty and justice for all. It's a big deal, and it's taken us a long time to kind of get there. And we're still getting there. So those of you who raised your hand because you're happy that you're here, that you're missing classes today, I want you to run for public office because we need honest politicians to make our country grow. And I figure anybody who admits that they really are here to skip class, you're honest. You can do it. I'm going to now appoint you as an elected or an appointed official, depending on where you're going to go, what office you're going to go to today. You will be either elected into that office or appointed into that office. Few elected offices. We have Library Board of Trustees who are elected. We have the sitting town councilors, and you have two of them here today. We have my office, the town clerk, and there's one other thing that's elected. Well, and we have, of course, our state officials like Angelo D'Amelia, who's your state representative, and Mark Pacheco, who's your state senator. But in town, don't we have one other?
School committee.
School committee. Good grief. Of course, the school committee, the ones that you should be most concerned about. So all of those people need to take an oath of office when they come in. And then you have many people who are serving this town as volunteers and as employees. So we have boards, committees, commissions that people sit on to make actually very important decisions, planning decisions for the town, where roads are going to be and all that sort of thing. And then we have paid employees, and you see many of them standing around here today. All of those people need to come to my office and be sworn in after they're either appointed or elected. So since you're going to be serving in those offices today, we're going to ask you to stand, and we're going to swear you in. And all of those people come and sign this big book when they get done. Can you see the signatures? It's full of all those people. I'm not going to have you sign the book. It would just take the whole rest of the morning to have everybody sign in, so we'll skip that. If you'll raise your right hands, please. Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially perform your duties as Student Government Day appointees and elected officials to the town of Bridgewater to the best of your ability, so help you God? Say, I do. All right, you are sworn. All right, that means you have to be on your best behavior today. So then on my agenda, the agenda that's here, I have a quick thing to talk about the principles of democracy. And wow, that's a big topic. So I just thought I would talk to you about a few of the principles of democracy. As Michael Dutton told you, the town clerk's office tracks the records. It's the record keeper of Bridgewater. So if one of you lucky people is coming to my office, and we will show you the records in Bridgewater from 1656 when we were incorporated, the handwritten records from back then, and we have records all the way forward of births, marriages, and dog licenses. We license all the dogs in town, and we register the voters for Bridgewater so that they go in the National Voter Database. And how many of you are 18? Any of you 18? You're younger than that. When you turn 18, if you are not already a registered voter, our office will send you a birthday card. It says, happy birthday, congratulations, you're going to turn 18 very soon, and we include in it a voter registration card and ask you to fill that out and send it back so you'll be a registered voter in Bridgewater. And I also tell you that if you call me ahead of time and bring your registration in, I'll buy you a cupcake. So, we do whatever we can to get people. I don't think that's buying votes. That's just getting more voters, which is one of our jobs, one of the duties. And I will tell you as a local official, I think local town government is one of the most important things you can be involved in. I hope that's why you're here today, to find out more about it. It's the place that I think affects you the most. It's the one that's most accessible to you. You can meet your town councilors not only here today, but some of them might be your neighbors. There are 9 of them, so they live around town. 1 lives in your precinct, whatever your precinct is, and 2 of them are your at-large councilors. And you can meet them in Cumbies, you can see them in Tedeschi's, you see them at the grocery store, you see them out mowing their lawn, taking their trash to the transfer station. Whatever they do, they're around town, they're doing things, and you can talk to them about things that are important to you. One of the town councilors was just reminding me that most of you were very young. How old were you in 2003? 3, 2 and 3 years old? 2 and 3 years old is when this town decided to build the school that you're going to school in now. So that was a very important local decision. We had state help for it, but that was a very important local decision, and it's affected your lives. Right now, we're deciding what we're going to do with the elementary school, right? Are you familiar with that? You probably are, because you've got the 8th graders out there with you, don't you? And so that's something that is being decided at a very local level here, what's going to happen with those kids who are now 2 and 3, just like you. So it's really an important thing to be involved in. They're talking about how our town is going to develop. We have our new town planner here. How are we going to develop? Where are we going to get business? Where are we going to put business? What roads are we going to pave? How are we going to get water? How are we going to keep our water safe? All of those things are made at the local level. So you're getting right involved with that today. And I think that's very exciting. I think it makes a big deal of difference to 27,000 people, which is the population of the town of Bridgewater. So I guess I'm going to leave you with that. Someone's going to present a proclamation. Michael, is that you? Oh, no. Okay, I'll let Michael do the introductions.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunt. I would like to, we do have a proclamation. Every Student Government Day, we issue a proclamation, and that's one of the ceremonial things that the town does to recognize either an important event or an important person or somebody who's really volunteered and made a difference in the community. So today we have a proclamation, and I would like to invite one of our counselors up to read the proclamation to you. Mr. George, John George, has been a counselor for now 2 years? Going on second year. And so he plays an important role and is part of what I think is a really good council, very thoughtful council. So I'll introduce Mr. George.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing this morning? All righty, good to hear. Okay, so hopefully, this is a fun part, very fun part. So student Jen, could you come up, please, for a proclamation? Round of applause. So Student Government Day proclamation. In grateful appreciation and recognition of the students, educators, and officials who participate in Student Government Day, whereas the education of our youth is paramount to the future of our town, state, and nation, and whereas enlightening students about the importance of local government and its function is something we must endeavor to do in order to encourage young people to aspire and grow into these leadership roles, and whereas teachers and elected officials are mentors to our youth, and the significance of their roles must be promoted, encouraged, and acknowledged, and whereas Bridgewater-Raynham Regional High School students are an important part of our community, and these young leaders positively influence their peers, contributing to their school, community, and local government, and whereas the faculty and administration who encourage their students to take part in this special day are to be commended for their efforts, and whereas we wish to honor the students, teachers, and local and state government officials who participated in this day. Now, therefore, we, the Town Council of the Town of Bridgewater, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, the 31st day of May, 2018, to be Student Government Day in Bridgewater. Congratulations.
One of the highlights of Student Government Day every year is the opportunity to hear from our state representatives. So we have with us today Representative D'Amelia, who is our state representative. Let me ask, is everybody from Bridgewater? Anybody from Raynham? Oh, okay, so we've got a good mix, so we have to watch what we say about Raynham. No. So Angelo D'Amelia has been a state representative for?
I'm in my fourth term, 8 years.
8 years, and he's very familiar with these days. He likes to come to these and give you a little bit of an idea of what goes on Beacon Hill, and he likes to come and visit us frequently and give us an idea of what's going on Beacon Hill, which most of the time we don't understand. But I'll leave you with Representative D'Amelia.
Thank you. Pressure's on now. I didn't know I was the highlight of the whole experience today, and both chiefs kind of chuckled when they said that, so I noted that, chiefs. But anyways, I'm State Representative Angelo D'Amelia. I represent the 8th Plymouth District, which is all of Bridgewater and all of Raynham. And I'm a BR alum, so it's great to have you here. For those of you who think that you're getting off today and not really having to learn anything, I think you're totally wrong, because civic engagement is important, and this is a huge lesson for you, because you are our future leaders. You are our future first responders, our future town clerks, our future council people, future individuals that are going to take part in all kinds of municipal government. And as Marilee stated, the municipal government is the closest to the people and probably the most important government that represents the people, because they are right here doing important work for us. So I'm excited to see so many of you coming out. And I'm also excited that everybody's eyes are open. They're not sleeping at this point. But I didn't really prepare a lot of big rocks, because I think what you learned today with the different department heads is going to be instrumental in your civic engagement and education. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, we passed a bill to encourage more civics at the high school level. So, any of you taking civics at this point? Well, you're kind of taking it right now in a sense, but do any of you have any questions about the state government? Like I said, today is more about the municipal level, but like I said, I'm your state representative, so anybody have any questions? Come on, Mike.
I do. So, what are you working on currently that could positively affect the district?
Well, like I said, yesterday we passed legislation, that's a great question, that encourages the Department of Education to implement, and the local school authorities to encourage more civic education for you, so that you take part in, you know, how government works. You learn how government works at all levels, the municipal level, the state level, and the federal level, because, as I said earlier, you guys are our future leaders. I mean, especially you look at our chiefs, you know, they're not young pups anymore.
Whoa.
I told you I was going to get you for snickering. But anyways, so that's a great question. So that's something we're working on. But we take part in providing, you know, at the state level, we go over revenue and funding for our municipalities. You know, all 351 cities and towns get education funding, road funding, all different types of funding. So, you know, those are the type of things we do. But, you know, yesterday, I'm glad we did that civic bill yesterday. So I think that was
And the
good thing.
transportation too, right?
Transportation, we went on, you know, public transportation, roadways, Chapter 90, all types of things. So I think that's about it. Enjoy your day today. I think you're going to be really impressed with the level of participation that you're going to get to take part in going with different department heads. So enjoy the day, and God bless.
One of the, thank you, Representative D'Amelia, and thanks for coming, so stick around. One of the things that I've told groups over the past few years is, and especially since we've got some of you from Raynham, some of you from Bridgewater, now, not so much 10 years ago, but now there's a difference in the form of government between Raynham and Bridgewater. Bridgewater decided about 2010, about 8 years ago, the voters decided to change the form of government. So you see behind me, you see nine tables and 9 chairs. There are 9 town councilors in Bridgewater, and the town council is the legislative body that passes our local laws. We call them ordinances, sometimes orders, sometimes resolutions, but those are the folks that pass those things. In Raynham, you've got a town meeting form of government, so I don't know if anybody's ever gone to a town meeting, but you know, your parents probably have. Town meeting is where you go once a year or twice a year, and the voters that show up to town meeting, anybody can vote on all those things that the town council would normally vote on in Bridgewater. So slightly different forms of government. So it's kind of interesting, I think. Town meeting form of government is probably 300 years old in the state of Massachusetts. So what's been going on in Raynham is probably the same form of government that they had when they first incorporated the town. The same was true in Bridgewater when it was incorporated in 1656. So we've been around a while, but it was probably the form of government that the town used when it was first incorporated. An open town meeting is sort of the purest form of democracy. You get to go, anybody and everybody in town gets to go to a town meeting that's called by the selectmen, and they get to vote on whatever, on spending, on projects, on doing different things, school projects. They get to vote on almost everything. So now we're a little different. The town council takes the place of that town meeting, and the town council gets to educate themselves about all the issues and make really informed decisions about how we're going to spend our money, the projects that we're going to do, and so forth. So I tell you that because our next speaker is the most recent president of the town council. He served as president of the council for 2 terms. He's been on the council since it was started, correct? In 2010, and he's just come off his second, his second term as president. The presidency rotates every year, and he's just completed his second term. And with that, I will introduce Tim Fitzgibbons. He's been many roles in Bridgewater, but most recently president of the town council.
Thank you, Michael. I want to thank all of our town employees for making time to come down here today and spend time with the students and with student government. That's important to us, and it's great to show the town's support of this day. And thank, of course, Mr. George, Ms. Hunt, and Representative D'Amelia, our elected officials in the room here, for coming down and joining us. And most importantly, I want to thank you guys for coming, because we wouldn't have this day without you. I hope you all come with an idea of what I want to get out of the day, just one idea. And if you can get that one idea answered, or one question answered, or whatever it is, then you'll have a successful day. You know, it's, as Mrs. Hunt said, local government is the area that you can affect the most in your life. You know, I've seen votes for schools happen. I've seen overrides happen where we've actually affected the change, affected change in the town budgets, in the infrastructure of the town, et cetera. And you know, it's really good at the end of the day to look back and say, hey, we did that. That's great. And if I could encourage you to have that same attitude, just like it's written inside the old high school there, as you walk in now, the Mitchell at the middle, it's a JFK quote, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. That's what I'd encourage you to bear in mind today. What can I do to help our town out and make it a better place for me and everybody I know? Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzgibbons. So I think what we'll do right now, I want to go around the room. We don't do this, we haven't done this in years past, but since you will be going out with your respective municipal leader and then reconvene, I want to just go around the room very quickly and have everybody introduce themselves so that you know who the people are, even though you may not be joined up with them for the rest of the morning. So I'll start right here with Tony, and we'll go right around the room.
I'm Tony Salmonti. I'm the Finance Director.
I'm Scott Boyce. I'm the Treasurer Collector.
I'm Jennifer Burke. I'm the Director of Community and Economic Development.
Eric Badger, Health Agent.
Shelley McCauley, Chief Assessor.
Rain Carosa, Director of Elder Affairs.
Jason Rollins, I'm the Town Attorney.
Yeah, don't ever get caught up with the town attorney. Yeah, that's not good either. Okay.
Citizens Academy.
All right, so I think, unless you tell me differently, I think what we'll do is make sure that, does everybody know who they're paired up with? So we're going to start out, we're going to have a town council.
Oh, yeah.
So you, the real town councilors, feel free to stay up here and coach. And our new town councilors and all of you department heads, I'm going to ask that you all be sworn in. So I'm going to ask our new town clerk to come up and just swear you in. So it involves everybody standing up and raising your right hand.
As whatever you were.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially perform your duties as you were appointed or elected to the best of your ability, so help you God?
I do.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
Very good.
All right, Tim, we're out of a job.
I was in the town clerk's office, and we learned about the town seal and the records that go on in the town of Bridgewater, and that everything that's kept in record in the vault, and all like the processes all the steps that you have to take to get licenses and everything for the town of Bridgewater. So, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go through, and whoever was with these respective departments, feel free to get up and come up. You can come up in pairs and just let us know what happened in your department. So we will start with
Yeah, kind of coach this person to ask people up, you know.
what's that?
Kind of coach the president to ask people up.
Yes, that's a good point. President of the town council should feel free, the town councilor, this is what happens in real life. So, the town council, come on up when I call your department, come on up and just give us a little bit of information about what you learned today. And then these town councilors will ask you really hard questions. And if you know the answer, feel free to give it. And what I have to learn to do is if you don't know the answer, say, I don't know, but I'll get back to you. All right, so we're going to start off with the health department. Who is in the health department? Come on up. And tell us just a little bit about what you learned.
So we learned about like inspecting like restaurants and fast food places. So we actually went to KFC and did a mini inspection. And like it all turned out okay and whatnot. And
You can get to KFC.
it's safe, it's okay. And there's a ton of restaurants within Bridgewater that have to be inspected, not just like restaurants, but like other places like Honeydew, and like Legion Field was recently inspected because of their kitchen and whatnot, so yeah.
The health department also deals with like complaints from like landlords or tenants on like their housing, like sewage, septic tanks, and just like pipes and water main breaks and that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Ms. President, through you to the Health Department.
Mr. George wants to ask a question.
Okay? Excellent job. Look, I'm just trying to follow protocol.
That's one of the very important things about every committee and every town council meeting is that there's a very specific protocol. So one of the things that really allows the town council to get through the amount of work that they get through is that all 9 of them follow a protocol. And so Mr. George was asking the president if he could address the people at the podium. So that's part of the protocol, and that's what is a large part of making the meetings go as smoothly as they do. We'll see about this one. Okay, building department. Who is in the building department? Okay. I'll fill you in on your way up. So what we're doing is you're just giving a little recap of what you learned and maybe what you did while you were gone. So don't worry, we're not picking on you. So you just this is the town council, and you're just giving them a report on what you learned in the building department today.
So we went around and inspected different buildings to make sure the frames and everything else was made correctly, make sure everything was in check, and make sure it was livable and things like that.
Perfect. Now we're going to see if the town council has any questions.
Guys have any questions?
Oh, no, yeah, I'm good.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to ask conservation. Is conservation back?
They're out on inspections.
They are out. They're never coming back. All right. Community and economic development and planning. Come on up.
Emily Tran.
Let's see what exciting stuff you learned.
Well, we talked about zoning areas and how new buildings and developments have to follow like state and town bylaws and regulations. And we work on making sure that like commercial or private planners or like following the rules and making sure that happens.
Any questions?
You have a question? No.
Very good. All right, how about the fire department? So let's hear what's going on at the fire department.
Ruh-roh.
Emily Tran, how did you get to Emily Tran, happy birthday. That was yesterday. I know.
Fire department. What we did? What you did, what you got to see today, and whatever propaganda the chief filled you with.
That's true. Basically, we drove around with Chief Levy all day. Not all day, but like for a couple hours. We went to the different fire stations and just looked around. The real story? We broke a fire truck.
Create another capital expenditure.
Thank you, Tony.
I think a counselor might have a question.
I have a question. Tell me the difference you notice between the fire station down here and the one down toward Berniers. What were some of the differences you saw?
That one's much older.
One here's a lot older. One here has a boat.
One has a nice gym.
Any other questions?
Should we tell them what we did?
What do we need on the west side?
We got a call to go check fire alarms and stuff in a weed plant.
So was it a total loss?
Oh no.
They asked for samples, I couldn't get them. What do we need on the west side?
Huh? Oh, a third fire station. Huh?
About 8 million.
Ms. President, through you to the fire department, wouldn't that look great at the McElwain School? Just saying.
All right, good? All right, good job. The town manager's report will answer these things. Okay, police department.
Kate Parody.
Where are our great police officers? Did you all come back? There were 2 of you left, right? And 2 of you came back?
Yeah.
One isn't locked in the cell. All right. Go ahead.
You want to go?
Go ahead.
All right, so we toured the police headquarters and the jail cell, and we pretty much just toured the whole headquarters.
And we got to see like the different procedures that the police officers did while they were on call and stuff like that.
Beautiful. Any questions?
Did you get any 911 calls
I
while you were there?
they have people in the booking room and they like accept them. We like hear any of them though.
Low key. It was pretty low key.
Yeah, pretty much.
And do you need to tell the town council that you need anything, like new cruisers or?
Fortunately, I think the fire department just spent it, so.
All right, any questions from the town council?
Do you have a question? Nope. There are no questions. Thank you.
All right, excellent. All right, what departments am I, oh,
You skipped finance, elders, library.
oh yeah. Oh, let's go, okay, I'm sorry, finance. Let's go to,
Important department, finance.
that's where it all starts. Finance, who is in finance? This should be about a half-hour report.
Yeah, anyone that was in any of the finance department groups, right?
Yeah, treasurer,
Treasurer,
collector,
collector,
assessor.
assessor, yeah.
Come on up. So we'll start, who was with Tony first? Okay, why don't you give her a little report on that?
All right, so he took us down to his office and he explained how the town of Bridgewater gets their funds, like from property tax and all of that. And then he also explained how it's complicated and you can't just throw money to whoever you want. And then yeah. And we took a tour around the building, and he explained to us how the synergy between the people matters, and it makes your job easier. How a very intertwined and connected workplace can make everyone's life a little easier. Yeah.
Any questions for the finance director?
Ms. President, through you to the Finance Director.
Uh-oh.
Could you please expand on throwing money at...
Money grows on trees.
All right, so who is with the assessor's office? Okay, tell us what happens in the assessor's office.
I learned that today that each tax bracket or each certain tax has to make a certain criteria or quota. Like they can only be charged so much in each area. And that each area can only raise 2.5% from the year before. And that every 10 years, every property in the town has to be inspected on in and out and measured. And based on what you have is what you're taxed on. I also learned that my house is taxed $6 extra every year because I really don't have a shed.
All right, any questions for the assessor? No, good?
Never
Okay,
questions.
thank you. And so, collector treasurer? Okay, have at it.
So basically, with the treasurer/collector, every dollar that comes into this building and leaves this building goes to the treasurer, and he needs to sign every check that goes in and out of this building. So every dollar goes through him. Additionally, he monitors tax, like excise taxes on vehicles and mortgage. Someone pays the mortgage to the mortgage company, and then the mortgage company pays the bill to the treasurer. And some people need refunds because they either overpaid their mortgage, or some people still owe money to their mortgage company because they didn't pay enough. So the treasurer deals with basically all the money that goes through the town.
Questions?
No, thank you.
All right. All right, now we're going to go to Elder Affairs. Who was with Elder Affairs? Good.
So we went to the senior center, and it was way different than we thought it was going to be. All the seniors were way younger than we thought they were going to be.
They were.
They were like 60. Like we
They
thought
were
they were
very
going to be like 80. And we watched them do yoga. And
Zumba.
Zumba.
Zumba, then
yoga. And then we learned how to take blood pressure, which was pretty cool. And
Yeah, they're very active. Yeah, they had a program where they had ready meals that you could heat up in the microwave, and they would deliver them to people at home. It was kind of cool. And a veterans agent. It was a lot.
yeah.
No coaching.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, it was
fun.
really
It was
fun.
cool. There was a lot going on, more than expected. So it was cool.
Council have any questions?
There are no questions. Thank you.
Okay, library. Who was daring enough to do the library?
Today at the library, we learned how important it is to be a library director, but also mountain bicyclist. We also learned how to balance keeping a safe environment while still having fun.
As a director, you have to build trust, like with your coworkers. If like they don't trust you, like how are you supposed to trust them? You have trust. It's all trust.
We also learned how they sort books and all the kinds of things they offer while still keeping a safe environment and offering things to people who are underprivileged and homeless. And that's all we learned today.
Any questions from the council in the library?
There are no questions, thank you.
This is the easiest town council I've ever worked with. This is great.
Conservation's back.
Okay, let's go to conservation. Who did conservation? Or engineering? Engineering, conservation.
We learned about all the zones in Bridgewater and the residential zones and the business zones and how you can only build houses on the residential zones and you can't only build businesses in the business zones. And then we learned about all the new subdivisions that are being put in Bridgewater. And there's like, what? Yeah, you can talk about the houses.
Like right near Cherry Street, all the buildings that Mr. D'Amelio used to own, and then the ones.
A few hundred houses.
Yeah, there's like a few hundred houses being built over there, and then was it the ones near Curve Street? Curve Street's building a lot of 148 houses. So there's just like Bridgewater's really expanding. It's like areas, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and when you build a subdivision, all the neighbors that live around the subdivision get to come and they say if they disagree or agree with the building of the houses, and if they disagree, they have to give their reasons why it could affect their property. And when you have a lot of houses in a certain area, you have to like take into effect all the wetlands around the subdivision. And if there is wetland, you have to build ponds.
It's like the little areas that gather up on
Homemade
the water.
ponds, and they fill up with water so then it doesn't like flood the houses of the neighbors.
That's like what it was, yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's what we learned.
Council have any questions?
Surprise, surprise. There are no questions. Wow.
Excellent. All right, did I get everybody? Am I missing anybody except for, the town attorney. We always forget about the town attorney.
Wow.
All right, come on up and tell us all about the legal world.
Yeah, Mariam. That's you.
Okay, so the town attorney sits like right there during all council meetings, and then if you have a question, Mrs. President, you just like you look at him and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do about this like legal matter. and then what happens is he tells you, well, listen, this is what the law states. This is what you have to do. And then if he doesn't know, he doesn't make it up because we're honest people. And he tells you that he'll get back to you. And in fact, we have a case tomorrow. Ask what the case is. That's going to be your question.
Town attorney, what's the case?
Oh, so tomorrow we're going to court because there was a zoning issue where some man, he got some property and then he didn't build on it for like 5 years. And he was like, but I built that road, so that should count. And we're like, that doesn't count. Your time's up, buddy. Gotta go. So.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Mariam, have you considered running for this position in the future? Because you're really good at it.
I have, and I will be back in approximately 9 years to take the position.
Go.
Any other questions? Good job.
Go home.
All right, have I gotten everybody except for the town manager's report? So I'll have the town manager the co-town managers come up and give a little report on what they learned.
There's two of them.
Alright, well, they do a lot, like everything goes through them, and they make budgets for everybody.
And it's not as easy as you would think, because you have a lot of money, but then you gotta put money towards the schools and everything else, and then
You have $3.
yeah, you have like $3.12, and then you don't know what to do with it. And then, what am I? The school. Sorry, the fire department. You can't have it. We're gonna put some housing there, and Bridgewater residents can live there for affordable prices. Yeah, and they do that. And yeah, everything that you do goes through them too, and yeah, that's about it. They manage the town, you know.
I have a feeling there are going to be some questions.
Oh,
I'd just like to thank you for a very brief town manager's report.
Mr. President, through you to the town manager. So according to the finance director, money grows on trees. Pay for everything. Could you expand?
Budgets. That's my answer.
Oh, okay. So now, the counselors, at the end of the meeting, the counselors get to give comments and a report about what they've done over the past couple of weeks. So we'll have the counselors give a little presentation about what they learned.
Hey, President. So basically what we did was we learned how, like, the council members, like, decide the rules, because we're not supposed to call them laws, apparently. Yeah. And, like, basically how, like, the government works and how, like, recently, like, Bridgewater switched from, like, selectmen to council members and, like, yeah. I don't know what else.
Yeah.
They argue about a lot of stuff. That happens.
They ask a lot of questions, but we're not good at it.
Yeah.
That's the briefest town council. All right. I think, okay, so let me ask this. Were there any questions that people had that didn't get answered today? Questions about anything about town government? Anything we could answer? Did everybody learn something today?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
At least one thing. If you left here and you've learned one thing,
I learned about Murphy.
then we did our job. So what I will ask, we've got a couple of things here, little gifts, parting gifts for you, and we would ask. Oh yeah, Harbor One and Dunkin' Donuts both contributed. No. Oh, Bridgewater State. The police and fire associations. Police and fire associations are the membership. So that's not really the departments. That's the actual policemen and firemen that protect the town have contributed something so that you can have a Dunkin' Donuts gift card on the way out. So certainly thanks to them. Harbor One Bank.
I did good.
Harbor One Bank has given us some Frisbees. If you like Frisbees, feel free to take one. And Bridgewater State University has given us some T-shirts. But I would also like to thank Councilor George, Councilor Fitzgibbons, who gave up a day of work to come and make sure that your experience was a good one. So I appreciate it. And all the department heads, we love doing this. I think I speak for everybody. This is a great fun activity, excuse me, for us. And we encourage you to go back and tell all the sophomores how much fun it was, so that next year we'll have a really good group. If you do you talk to sophomores?
No, not really. They kind of suck.
All right. Well,
We definitely suck.
they'll just have to overhear your stimulating conversations about today.
I'll just talk really loud.
And I think that's it. So thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it.